All right, welcome in here, ladies and gentlemen. Today's race not yet underway. We did just get the command of fire engines, which is more than we got yesterday. So there's a lot that went into yesterday and why we didn't go green. So not only did we have lightning in the area, which delayed the race, there was also a fire in the TV compound. It knocked out the generator. So MRN went off the air. NASCAR, their television broadcast probably would have been knocked off the air, so it extended the delay. And they just never got it back going because rain eventually did come through the area as well. So no laps turned last night. We have today's race, probably take about 2.5 hours. And then tonight we have another race. We have the Cup race. So it should be a fun evening. See what happens. Today's race is on FS2. So if you guys need a provider, let me know. And I'll post some helpful information in the chat. I'm exhausted. I meant to sleep last night. I guess my brain just couldn't shut off until I saw a truck race. Let's go ahead and look through our leaderboard today. So SVG on pole. That's crazy. I don't know if this will mean anything about his chances later, but we have to remember he's right there near the bubble, near the cut line in the Cup Series. So perhaps if SVG can turn today's run into some crucial practice for later, maybe he does just enough to stay in the chase. Who knows? Good to see you, Michael. Fun seeing you in Clayville's stream the other, I guess, night and evening, 30-hour stream. So I'll let you know if Stuart Friesen makes the chase. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. Ronnie, let me give you some instructions here in the chat. I'm going to type this in, and it should post something here for a second. If you follow those instructions that just got posted in the chat, you should be able to find the race. Allegedly. Let me go ahead and test. Yeah, it's working. Don't want you to miss the race, Ronnie. Yeah, I like Stuart Friesen. I also go ahead and just look at today's points. How do you get the race? Doris, if you look right above your comment there in the chat, if you follow those instructions, you should be able to find it. Allegedly. But if you have a typical, if you have a normal cable provider, today's race is on FS2. So last night it was supposed to be on FS1. Today it's moved over to the backup channel of Fox Sports 2. Go standings, trucks. Yeah, Stuart Friesen right now, right on that cut line. Only an 8-point advantage, I believe, over Tyler Ankrum. Very close. It's going to come down to it, that is for sure. Top 5 have clinched a chase spot. Lane Riggs has clinched. Caden Honeycutt clinched. Chandler Smith, Christian Eckes, and Gio Ruggiero. Caden Honeycutt only running a handful of races Barely missed that cutoff. What a driver. Only 6 starts this season, and he missed the cutoff by like 60 points. Tristan McKee will be the first driver born in the 2010s to make his NASCAR debut. Tristan McKee is a very highly talked about prospect. I've been watching a few of the ARCA. I can't remember if it's East or West. I can't remember right now, but I think Flat Rock was the first one I watched, and I watched another one of those races, and McKee was up there both times. So he looks very promising, and I've heard several people mention him as like already having ties to a few rides. You have FS2, Hulu Plus Live TV, Garrison. That's good. Kind of wild this race isn't on FS1. I don't think there's anything major on TV right now, but we're on FS2. All right, green flag is out. We are 3 wide already in some of these lanes. Still side by side for the lead. SVG took the high side on the start of the race. Caden Honeycutt hanging really close on the inside. They're still side by side for the first 3 rows. Yeah. So the track's looking pretty racy right now, even with the rain last night. Still side by side for the first whole 2 laps. We're on lap 3 now. All right, Caden Honeycutt has a little bit of an advantage here. Best look he's had at the lead. All right, SVG is going to drop in behind Caden Honeycutt. So we have now single filed out. The 11 truck has the lead. Stuart Friesen right there in 11th. Not in a terrible position, but he definitely needs to do what he can to move into the top 10. Earn some stage points here. That could help him on that cut line. Look at the points one more time. He's fighting Tyler Ankrum for that final spot. Ankrum right now is in 10th. 1 spot ahead of Stuart Friesen. Michael says he's very thankful NASCAR postponed it last night. He had to get up early yesterday morning. It would have been a late night for a lot of people if they had waited to run it. Especially this race being in the Eastern time zone. It would have been a very late race at the racetrack. Yesterday was just a bad day for motorsports. We didn't get the race in, and we also, well, they had a fire at the TV compound. I'm not sure if you guys were here for that, but they had lightning at the track that put us under a delay. When they finally did the national anthem and stuff, I believe maybe immediately after, there was a fire near the broadcast compound. The generator itself, I believe, was what caught on fire. And they just weren't able to go green, weren't able to continue the broadcast. From what the at-track reporters were saying, the radio feed went down and the TV feed would have went down. So they had a wild turn of events at the track. I also don't know if you guys have kept up with IndyCar. They were supposed to have the first practice for their upcoming race, Sunday's race at Markham. It's a new track in Canada. The track wasn't ready. They hadn't finished building the track yet. So there's cars ready to roll out, and the track wasn't done. So they didn't get to run practice yesterday. Now the NASCAR, the Canadian NASCAR series, I don't know if Pinty still sponsors it, but whoever sponsors it, the Canadian series is also running up there at Markham. So both series got held up because the track wasn't finished. So a terrible day for motorsports yesterday. All right, Friesen has lost another spot and Ankram's moved up one. That would award Ankram 2 stage points. And Stuart Friesen has lost a spot, so not in a position to earn stage points. Meanwhile, Ankram is. That would tighten up that battle for the final spot to, I believe, 6 points between the two of them. Friesen's going to have to pick it up here. Yeah, finally truck time. I don't know if it was just propaganda, but from some of the reporters that were at the IndyCar track up in Canada, they were saying the layout there is really impressive. So don't know how true that is. I'll have to wait until tomorrow to see. I don't plan on watching the practice. But because NASCAR is racing tonight, or scheduled to, we might actually stream the IndyCar race tomorrow. Might. That's right, Michael. That's right. Christopher Bell was supposed to race this race. But because of it getting postponed to today and needing to focus on the Cup side of things, they went ahead and announced that he won't be racing tonight, or today, in this race. He's going to race the New Hampshire race next week. So the field probably not that excited about the news. That was pretty good at New Hampshire. Michael was talking about this 62 of Leland Honeyman Jr. Also, Elliott Sadler in the field. Long time since we've seen Elliott Sadler in a NASCAR sanctioned race. So I'm excited about that. I really liked Elliott Sadler, but he is in a Ram truck, and we know how slow they are typically. Highest running Ram truck right now is 14th, which is actually really good for a Ram truck this season. Then we have 23rd, 24th, and 28th. Not great. So Majeski reporting brake issues. Waltrip said it was brake shake. Maybe temperature issues that might sort itself out, but I've heard a lot of times when you have brake shake, it'll just get worse. What temperature is it in Richmond right now? $83 degrees right now. Man, Richmond looks so different at during the daytime. Used to Richmond at night. Historically, the Cup Series would go there right before the beginning of the chase, or, you know, around this time of year, pre-chase era, and it would be a night race. Was it the Pontiac Rock and Roll 400 or something? no, Chevy Rock and Roll. And then what was it? Pontiac Excitement? Yeah. There we go. I had Chevy and Pontiac backwards in my head. So we had the Pontiac Excitement 400. Then we had the 2003 Chevy Rock and Roll 400. Good sponsors here at Richmond. I used to love this track. But, I mean, this truck race has put on a good show so far. Able to run side by side for a handful of laps. There's a guy that I follow on Twitter who put money on Ty Majeski for today. So I am keeping my eye on Ty. He's pretty good on his bets usually. So I was... I've never bet before, but I was tempted with this one. Stuart Friesen was able to move up to 11th here. Move back up to 11th, I should say. Tristan McKee in 13th right now in a Spire truck. Not bad. That's in the 77. Elliott Sadler up another spot. He's gotten by Frankie Muniz. Or towards the tail end of the field. Look at their lap times here. Chandler Smith, not bad right now. He is a full second behind SVG, but if we do run green to the end of the stage, perhaps he can run down SVG. We still have over 40 laps left in the stage, so there's plenty of time. Man, Caden Honeycutt's still turning good laps. 24. I think he's the only truck in the 24-second bracket. Ty Majeski, not too far off. Again, several seconds back, but it's a good lap time. Grant Infinger as well. Running top 5 right now. That's a good-looking 9 truck, too. Used to see in that truck in a shade of yellow, but here it is in blue. All right, the battle's really close here for 4th place. Grant Infinger in striking distance on Majeski. Now that they're kind of battling, their lap times have slowed down quite a bit. A big gap, though, between Infinger and Riggs. I mean, that's over 2 seconds from 5th to 6th place. Yeah, look at this. Frankie Muniz already about to go a lap down. We're turning 25.3 in traffic, so about 25-second laps. So Frankie's going to go a lap down here quickly. Chris Wright's going to go a lap down here probably within the next lap or two. Elliott Sadler would be next. Before the end of this stage, I mean, they may lap... I mean, depending on how long it takes to get through traffic, could be up towards the 20s if we run green. I don't know how quickly Caden Honeycutt's going to get through traffic. He's kind of trapped right now behind Chris Wright in the 81. Gonna move him up the track there a bit. So Chris Wright going a lap down. Mini Tyrell really dropped off the last few laps. I'm not sure what happened there. So Mini Tyrell next in line to go a lap down. Probably going to go a lap down right here. All right, Sadler's got a couple car lengths behind him to the leader, but Honeycutt is closing in. All right, Ankrum about to move up to 7th. That would give him 4 stage points. And Friesen has moved into 10th. That would give him 1 stage point. He needs every point he can get. And Infinger going for the pass on Ty Majeski. They're side by side, but they're closing in on lap traffic. That's Spencer Boyd in the 76 ahead of these two. They're going to split him 3 wide. Boyd's going to back out of it before the corner. Now they're closing in on Chris Wright. Infinger clear. All right, Infinger up to 4th. That's our look there. Elliott Sadler now 1 lap down. Dawson Sutton probably to go a lap down. He probably already is a lap down, to be honest. Almost. They don't have him scored a lap down yet, but he's close. Sutton's holding on for now. All right, Dawson Sutton scored a lap down now. Corey LaJoie next on the chopping block. It won't be long. There he is, down a lap. So now it's up to 29th we've lapped. We're just looking at these intervals here. 29 to go in the stage. How many more will go a lap down here? All right, Lane Riggs moving into the picture. Lane might be able to run up there and pick off a couple. We'll see. Both Chandler Smith and Lane Riggs in striking distance on Ty Majeski now. Brennan Finger P3 right now. Lane Riggs looking to the inside of Chandler Smith. They're side by side into one. Chandler carried really good speed into the corner. They're going to stay side by side down the backstretch. Ooh. Chandler Smith kind of overdrove the entry to 3. All right. Lane Riggs up to 5th right now. Ankrum actually lost a couple spots. Who got by? I didn't see. So now only 1 spot separates Ankrum and Friesen. Half a second between them. That's for 1 point. That would close the gap from 8 points to 7 points. That's the cut line right here. The cut line somehow always comes down to just a few points between 2 drivers. There they are. And Tristan McKee in his debut in 11th right now. Corey Heim is in the field. We got to watch out for that. Watch out for the 5 truck. He stays up there late into the race. And let's check in on our lap traffic. Derek Limke did go a lap down. Mason Massey has about a second buffer right now. He's gotten by Timmy Hill, so he has Timmy Hill running interference for him. Hill might have a few tenths between himself and the leader. Leader's running 25.4s, so about half a second between Hill and the leader as of the last lap. So about half the field's going to go a lap down in this stage. Good to see you, Zach. Luzgo Matai Majeski, not a bad pick. I was saying a second ago, this guy on Twitter I follow who's really good with his bets said he was going to put money on Majeski. And I don't know how he does it, but he's almost always right with his bets. Only a couple times I can recall him being wrong. Zach says, will Lane Riggs finish first today? Sources say yes. Interesting. Sadler is up to 30th. Not bad. Outrunning Mini Tyrell, who's, you know, a full season guy. Like, sure, he's a rookie, but Sadler's 51. And he's running down Corey LaJoy, who's pretty much been full-time. Not bad. Actually running a bit faster than Corey here. We'll see if he can close in and take that spot before the end of the stage. Some pretty decent fall off in the tires. Okay, I haven't adjusted the scoreboard yet. That's on me. Let's add manufacturer. Let's add best lap. Move status down. Move behind up. Move laps all the way down. Did I untick the status? I don't see the status bar anymore. We'll see if it reappears. There we go. That looks better. Where's all the information? I was looking for the best lap. I had to add it back to the scoreboard. So biggest movers of the race, Leland Honeyman. 12 spots up. Landon Lewis up 9. Not bad. About 15 to go in the stage. I think we're at 16 to go right now. So Massey's still just barely holding on. He is about to go a lap down. And there we go. Up to 24th now. Next on the chopping block, with about a half a second buffer, Leland Honeyman Jr. trying to stay on the lead lap. We know he has a fast truck. Fast enough. He's passed several, at least 12 guys since the start of the race. Lou says, do I have the bubbles? If you're talking about the points, I can pull it up. I can't see it live, like what the points are doing live. But before the race, there were 8 points between Stuart Friesen, who was the last car in the chase, as of before the race, and Tyler Ankrum was 8 points back. Right now, Ankram's going to receive 2 points as they run currently. But McKee might be able to get around Ankrum. We'll see. But as of right now, Stuart Friesen would get no stage points. Ankrum would get 2, and that would close the gap to 6 points between Ankrum and Friesen. So that's our battle for the last spot in the chase. Let me go back and look at that and see what the gap is on Friesen in the truck ahead. It's 6 points between Hemrick and Friesen. So where is Hemrick running? Ooh, Hemrick's in 17th. So Hemrick and Friesen might about be tied. Well, no. Let me take that back. They won't get any points for the stage, so there'll be no difference between Hemrick and Friesen. But there's only 6 points between Hemrick and Friesen, so depending on how they finish, or if Friesen gets stage points, Hemrick might be the truck on the cut line. So it's really a 3-truck battle for that bubble. Brent Infinger's close to the bubble, but not there. So it's between Hemrick, Friesen, and Ankrum. If Friesen can finish like 7 spots better or gain stage points, then he could possibly pass Hemrick. But that would also move Ankrum's goal up. He would need to gain more than 8 points today. Tristan McKee about to make the pass on Ankrum. It's close. 7 truck way up the track. Gonna run a Denny Hamlin style lap there. Interesting. So Giovanni Ruggiero also going a lap down. Now lapped up to 21st position. Still 8 laps to go, so Perez de Lara could potentially go a lap down here as well. 7 laps to go in the stage. SVG's trying to get up here. He's running the high side. Our leader's still running the inside. A lot of these lap trucks are running the inside, so Caden Honeycutt's having to really fight for every spot while SVG's running with pretty much clean track. So Perez de Lara now down a lap. We have clear track to 18th. A lot of clear track in front of the leaders, so he shouldn't be lapping any more trucks to the end of the stage. So half the field pretty much went a lap down. Not even, I mean, that's half the field. 18 trucks down a lap right now. Perez de Lara looks like he's probably going to get the free pass, but there's still a fight between Perez de Lara and Giovanni Ruggiero. We'll see who ends up receiving the free pass. Elliott Sadler was able to get by Corey LaJoie, so Elliott Sadler up to 29th. Zach, he's going to be a singer, it looks like, according to the 8 ball. All right, 3 laps to go in the stage. SVG only a half second back. Doesn't look like he's going to get there. Clean track in front of Caden Honeycutt, so I don't think we're going to see SVG close in anymore. If this went longer and there were more trucks to get past, SVG was probably going to run him down just due to how long it was taking Honeycutt to get by some of these lap trucks. All right, 2 laps to go in the stage. Ankrum was able to move up to 8. That's going to earn him 3 stage points. And Stuart Friesen free falling to 14th. So there's 5 points now, I believe, between Stuart Friesen and Tyler Ankrum. Big boy. I've seen a lot of rail fans out seeing Big Boy lately. I'm guessing they had Big Boy making a tour of the country or something. All right, Caden Honeycutt taking stage 1. Infinger up to 3rd. Not a bad run for Infinger. But clearly a 2-truck battle right now. Caden Honeycutt 1st, Shane Van Gisbergen 2nd, and then a 5-second gap back to 3rd. Corey Heim up to 11th. Watch out for that guy. He's a bad dude. And Stuart Friesen's got to do something. If Ankrum gets stage points again, it's going to put him neck and neck. And then we come down to the end of the race. If they finish how they do right now the rest of the race, Ankrum would jump Friesen. So what Friesen has to do is try to finish at least 6 to, I guess, 7 spots ahead of Hemrick at the end of the race, or try to earn stage points and finish in front of Hemrick. But as they run, I'm not sure if this was the actual running order. I mean, Hemrick and Friesen nose to tail. This is looking about like the worst case scenario for the 52. They're going to have to step it up. You sing on your channel? I haven't seen that, Lou. I am going to go to your channel. I don't see. I only see posts. I don't see the. I'll be watching, Lou. I'll be watching. All right, make sure you're checked in if you're a member of the NASCAR Fan Rewards program. I checked in last night before the race when it was supposed to start. I like this Denny Hamlin talking car commercial. They prepared that car in the Gibbs shop. Someone actually spotted this before the commercial ever aired and posted it online. Like, what am I looking at? So stage 1, Ankrum receiving 3 stage points. That is huge for Tyler Ankrum. If they finished how they did right now, no more stage points for anybody, Ankrum would jump Friesen. So the last 2 spots would go to Hemrick and Ankrum, and Friesen would be on the outside looking in. It was close between Ankrum and Friesen, but Friesen fell off there at the tail end, and Ankrum made another run at it. Tristan McKee, 9th. Not bad. You have a welding hat for your Masked Singer appearance? Not bad. Zach says he's going to go as Mr. Krabs. So you have a lot of future singers in the chat. So it looks like all the leaders coming down. right, Spire guy's going to work on SVG's truck. He's out. Can Caden Honeycutt keep the lead? Looks like he's going to easily keep the lead. Got out just ahead of that 11 truck. Or got out ahead of the 7 truck, my bad. Lane Riggs with that first pit stall. Not bad. Lane Riggs going to gain 2 spots on pit road. Enfinger's going to lose 1. And Majeski's going to lose 3 spots on pit road. McKee's going to gain 1. Heim's going to gain 2. And Ankrum will lose 2 spots. So that's definitely not what Ankrum was looking for. But definitely what Heim was looking for. Heim now in the top 10. If he can move up just a few more spots in stage 2, he will be in striking distance for a run at the win. A little more rubber on the track now in stage 2. Guys able to make some adjustments there during this pit cycle. So we may see a few more cars challenging there at the front end of the field. It was just a 2-truck battle between Honeycutt and SVG. And it was a clear 2-truck battle. The third place guy was like 5 seconds back. Zach said, will he sing? He asked the Magic 8 Ball if he'll sing the national anthem when Kentucky Motor Speedway reopens. That's a big if it'll reopen. Honestly, they should have reconfigured Texas to the old configuration, maybe. Or reconfigured it to how Atlanta is now. Kept Atlanta the way it was, just repave. And then potentially just add banking, more banking to Kentucky. I wish Kentucky still existed. I feel really bad for the fans that live near that racetrack and now no longer have a racetrack to go to. Probably have to either drive to Bristol, to Nashville, or to Indianapolis. Just not fair to the fans when you have a nice facility nearby and then NASCAR just stops going there. But we had breaking news that, I mean, it hasn't been completely confirmed, but the track promoter for Rockingham has come out and said that NASCAR has no plans to return to Rockingham next season for any of the national series. So no trucks, no O'Reilly, no Rockingham. So that's a shame. Rockingham is a really good track, but the owner is in hot water. And a lot of people are really angry at him. They should turn Kentucky into a super speedway. I don't know how that would really work. Like, if the shape of the track would work for that. The turns might be too wide. I don't know if that's the right choice of words. If you banked it enough, maybe it would. They just have to be careful with turning all of these 1.5s into super speedways on a whim, because there's already several tracks that we could go to that have lost their date, lost their points date. So even if Kentucky were to make massive changes, there's no guarantee they'll get a date. You know, Nashville Super Speedway has existed for a long time, but it took the Cup Series like 25 years to start going there. What about for ARCA? Probably not as well. Maybe ARCA will go there, maybe. But they said no national NASCAR series, so we know at least the top 3 series will not be at Rockingham. All right. On the restart, Caden Honeycutt taking the inside. Not able to stay side by side this time around. Caden Honeycutt convincingly taking the lead. Landon Lewis and Tristan McKee all over each other there on the restart. They were 3 wide for a moment. Top 3 have single filed out. Grant Enfinger fighting for 4th there on the high side of, I believe that's Chandler Smith, but I can't see the number yet. Yeah, that's Chandler Smith. All right, Lane Riggs up to 3rd. Gained 2 spots on pit road, so this is the furthest forward we've seen Lane Riggs today. Oh my goodness! Majeski almost got left hooked there by Corey Heim, I believe. So a little... Oh! Heim's going to move Majeski up the track. Yeah, Majeski's running for points here. Heim is not. So Majeski's not going to take kindly to this part-timer coming in and running him so aggressively. Heim ran him up the track again on exit of turn 2. That's going to hurt Majeski's exit, which is going to bring Hemrick into the conversation. Worst case scenario for Stuart Friesen. Hemrick running well, Ankrum running well, and Friesen not in position to score any stage points right now. A lot of smoke out of Majeski's tires. That's going to hurt him over the long run, potentially. Thankfully, Heim didn't just drive through Majeski. That would have been crazy. All right. Enfinger able to get by Eckes, finally. Majeski with a flat. I think the left, the left front's down. Massive issue for Majeski. He's going to be able to limp it back to pit road, but some pretty decent damage to the left front of that truck. He's going to go at least a couple laps down here. Some damage to that right front as well. All right, they're able to get it jacked up here. They're at least going to change left sides. That truck's a little dented up right now. Didn't really spend time pulling out the bodywork there. I'm a little worried about that right front. Right front's missing the lettering. We could see another cut tire on Majeski. Just watch out for that 88. I'm not confident it's going to make many laps. This could go poorly really quickly for Majeski. Just watch out for that 88 truck. So Majeski 2 laps down officially now. Gonna merge back out onto the track. Behind the 3rd place truck of Lane Riggs. Watch him cut that right front right next to one of our leaders. I didn't see them really pull out the bodywork either, so the left sides aren't safe either. I am really concerned about that 88. Taterhead says they need to go back to Knoxville. I completely agree. That's a great opinion, Taterhead. We've been missing a dirt race, and Knoxville could do it. Eldora could do it. A lot of people don't really want us to go back to Bristol because it was such a wreck fest, but I really enjoyed the Bristol dirt races. I went to a couple of them, and it was so fun to watch in the stands, seeing the trucks slide around, go to the corners 3 wide. My goodness, worst case scenario there for Majeski, but I do believe he's safe on points. Let me go confirm that. Let me go back, standings. Oh, Majeski not locked in, actually, but he's 70 points ahead of the cut line, so he's safe. And especially if he's able to get this back running, he'll probably at least finish 18th. And that's on the low end. Over the course of this stage, if we stay green, the back half of the field's probably going to end up going 2 laps down, so... Majeski's day isn't over, necessarily. There's a world where he can run himself up to the free pass position, potentially in stage 3, if we grab a caution. A new tweet from Bob Pockris. Let me pull this up for you guys. This is the track at Markham, the one that the IndyCar Series is going to race at and the Canadian NASCAR Series is going to race at this weekend. So there's a hairpin in one of the corners. This is a completely freshly paved surface. So it should be a really smooth track. But what a hairpin. That is extremely sharp. And you can run wide here. I'm not sure how far IndyCar is going to allow them to run. But that is... I mean, that's crazy. Beautiful looking area, though. You can see the flag there on the right. That's the Great White North up there. Not looking very white at the moment. Some nice greenery. Let's look back at our leaderboard. SVD's trying to get by Majeski, but Majeski's passed SVG right now, and he's trying to run down our leader. If Majeski can get his lap back on the track, that would put him in a really good position going into stage 3, instead of having to race his way through the 2-lap down trucks and then potentially through the lap down trucks in the next stage. That would be a lot worse. We know he's got pace, and he has a little newer left side tires, but to run down Caden Honeycutt, that's a tall ask. Caden Honeycutt with our Xfinity fastest lap as of right now. All right, Zach, good luck with that that front yard. Hope you do a good job. If you're going to spend time out in the hot sun, you might as well make it look good. So Hemrick still in 9th, so in position to get a stage point here, potentially 2. We'll see if he can move up a little bit more. That would grow the gap on Stuart Friesen. Friesen up to 13th, so he's gained a couple spots, but so has Ankrum. Ankrum up to 15th. Looking at our lap down trucks, this is glitched out. These guys are actually all 1 lap down. We can't see the intervals, so I don't know when we don't know when Honeycutt's going to start lapping these guys again because we cannot see the interval. But Giovanni Ruggiero in 18th, 17 back. All right, Ty Majeski getting one of his laps back. So tires playing a factor here today. Tires do matter. And that right front has held on so far. I don't want to jinx it, but even without lettering and with the tire visibly sticking out a bit, he has held on. But he's going to be under the gun by Honeycutt every time Majeski tries to get by one of these lap trucks. And he's kind of going to clear the way for Honeycutt. So Honeycutt could use Majeski to his own advantage. He can just follow him through the pack if he stays close enough. And that would stave off another run by SVG. Lane Riggs keeping SVG pretty close. 4/10 between the two of them. And then it's over a 1.5 seconds back to Grant Enfinger in that 9 truck. Good kind of afternoon where I'm at. We're just a couple minutes past. Almost noon on the dot. So one thing, just like you guys to keep an eye on throughout the day, if you're interested, there is a tropical storm that could turn into a hurricane. I'm not sure if they've upgraded it to a Cat 1 yet. That is set to hit Hawaii. Be their first hurricane in, I believe, over 24 years. So just keep an eye on that. It shouldn't be too bad. You know, the winds in a Cat 1 aren't crazy, but the rain, they're expected to get over 30 inches of rain with this storm. So localized flooding could get bad. So just keep an eye on that. Hoping for the best for the folks in Hawaii. Friesen's lost a spot since we've last checked in on him. He was in 13th. Now he's in 14th. And Ankrum has moved up tremendously from 17th all the way up to 11th. It's looking more and more like Stuart Friesen's going to miss the chase here. Today so far, I mean, obviously, Friesen hasn't wrecked out or anything, but in terms of how well Hemrick's run this stage and how well Ankrum ran last stage and now into this stage, worst case scenario for Stuart Friesen. The 2 trucks he was battling for the last spot in the chase, both outrunning him at this moment. All right, Lane Riggs looking to the inside of SVG. SVG really, midway through the run onward, has really gravitated up towards that high side, which is probably more of a viable lane in the Gen 7 car. But he's been trying to make it work today. Not many trucks running that high up yet. But Lane's making good time along the inside. We'll see if he can make that pass. Majeski already able to make his way by a lot of these lap down trucks. About 25 laps to go in the stage. 24 laps to go now. So how many more trucks can Ty pick off here? he could put himself in a really good position going into stage 3. And I don't know if he's going to compete for the win. That would take a couple more cautions, most likely. But he could save his points day at the least. Get a good seed in the chase. And a little ahead of me. We have this race and then get a few hours of rest, and then we have the cup race. So I am already exhausted. I didn't sleep last night. I was ready, locked and loaded for the truck race last night. It didn't happen. And I laid down. I tried. I just didn't really feel tired until about 2 hours before this race started. And it really hit me. So Honeycutt maintaining the lead, 3-second lead. Lane Riggs still just a few tenths back, not able to make the pass on SVG yet. Corey Heim up to 7th. Watching him. If he can somehow move up into the top 5, that would put him in a really good position going into stage 3. Again, it could come down to pit road and what his crew can do. They gained him a couple spots on the last stop. If they can do that again, that'd be a really huge thing for him. Tristan McKee's still impressing right now in 12th. Giovanni Ruggiero 20.6 seconds back. 18 laps. See if he can. We will see if he can hold on to the lead lap. Majeski has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now 6 trucks ahead of him. It's showing 2 laps down. Some of these guys actually are 2, but a few of them are not 2 laps down. The leaderboard just struggles with lap traffic sometimes. So up to Cole Butcher. They're all 1 lap down. And Cole's close. Cole's about to go 2 laps down. Only thing that can save him right now is a caution. All right, coming to 15 laps to go. Stuart Friesen almost 3 seconds back from Tristan McKee, so not in position for a pass here. Ankrum 2 seconds back from Jake Garcia, not in position for a stage point. That would really take some pressure off Stuart Friesen, and it would just set up a head-to-head battle going into stage 3. Right now, I believe only 5 points separate Ankrum and Friesen. Honeycutt all over the back of Cole Butcher here. He's going to look to the inside. Not a great entry, really, for Honeycutt here. But he's going to stay to the inside down the backstretch. Kept it pinned to the bottom pretty well through 3 and 4. So SVG barely holding on to second place right now. Lane Riggs now still trying to get to the inside of SVG, but not able to make it that lap. Levin truck. Still looking clearly like the strongest truck out there at the moment. Chandler Smith with the 25. It's hard to judge what pace Honeycutt's really running because he's in lap traffic constantly. Trying to look back through the field and see who might potentially have pace to keep track, but these aren't really fair comparisons at the moment. Giovanni Ruggiero, 21.5 seconds back. He's gotten by Tanner Gray, so Tanner Gray now the last truck on the lead lap. And Majeski has passed his way up, only 2 trucks ahead of him. 1 lap down, so Majeski potentially is 10 laps to do it. Could be the first car 1 lap down. I don't know if he can get there. We'll see. Now he's right behind Honeyman. Majeski has gotten by Corey LaJoy. He just has to run down Leland Honeyman Jr. And I don't know what the interval is between these 2 trucks. I don't even know if it's close. I do know Majeski's half a second faster. All right, that's closed up. Only almost 0.3 faster. That last lap. Lane Riggs to the inside right now of SVG. Ooh, SVG really did not have a good exit of turn 4. That's going to put Lane Riggs into 2nd place. And Grant Enfinger's right here. Enfinger looking to the inside of SVG now. SVG is really fighting that truck right now. Looks like the rear end's coming out every now and then. Looks like he's fighting a loose condition. I'm not really sure what's going on there at the moment. Maybe we can get an update here shortly. That right rear is hanging out middle of the corner, and especially on exit. That right rear is just stepping out on SVG. The SVG, I mean, definitely in the truck series, he has impressed a lot on these longer short tracks. North Wilkesboro and now here at Richmond. Lane Riggs, 4.5 seconds back from Honeycutt. Honeycutt, class of the field right now. Majeski's still trying to run down Leland Honeyman. Only 5 laps to do it. I'm not sure he's going to get there. But if we get an early caution in stage 3, Majeski would potentially be the first truck 1 lap down. I wish they would show the battle for the lucky dog. This is huge. Majeski is a potential contender for the win. Definitely a contender for a top 5. So this is important news if he can get back up here and grab this position. 4/10 difference between the two. I mean, I don't know where Majeski is, but man, we probably won't know until the stage ends who gets this. Honeyman still leads Majeski. They're close. 2 laps to go. Majeski's there. Lane and Lewis going to hold up Majeski a little bit. They're going to have 1 lap to settle this. One lap to do it. Majeski somehow has to try to get by Leland Honeyman. I honestly move him up the track at this point. This is a race-saving move, potentially. Majeski's got to do it here. Come on, Majeski. Get greedy. Once the top 10 crosses, that gives him 12 extra seconds. Majeski's not going to get there. He's going to enter deep, but he's not going to make it. Caution is out. Landon Lewis held him up just enough. So Leland Honeyman Jr. going to get his lap back. Ty Majeski will be stuck one lap down, but he will be the first truck one lap down. So if we get a quick caution, that's what Ty Majeski has to hope for. I'm talking a caution on the restart. That's what Ty Majeski has to hope for any shot to run his way back up into the top 10. So Tyler Ankrum also missing out on a stage point. So that's huge news for Stuart Friesen. And Hemrick actually going to gap them 3 points. So Hemrick doing what he needs to do to secure his spot in the chase. Still not completely safe. He still has to finish well. But Friesen, they have to make some kind of a change to get his truck to be on par at least with Ankrum. He can't finish that much further back than Ankrum. This is going to come down to the wire for that last spot in the truck chase. Only 5 points separate these two, if my math is correct. Fun race so far. I shall return. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're setting up for a exciting third stage. Lane Riggs in the best position he's been today. They'll make more adjustments on their trucks, and they'll take another run at it. We'll see if anyone can catch Caden Honeycutt. What a great race it's been for him. Corey Heim not able to gain during the course of that stage. And just a really close battle between Ankrum and Friesen for that last chase spot. 5 points between the two. And the other story, can Ty Majeski get back on the lead lap and save his race? Not expecting him to get up there and run for the win. But can he salvage and maybe earn a top 10? He's going to need a caution. We've run clean so far. No cautions today outside of the stage breaks. All right, SVG and his stall. Infinger in. Caden Honeycutt in. Lane Riggs does have the first pit stall, so can Lane Riggs steal the lead on this pit cycle? They're going to need probably a half-second faster stop. Brandon Finger out. Honeycutt out as well. Little slow, looks like maybe on the left side for Lane Riggs. Not able to get out in time. Really slow stop for Lane Riggs. What? Lane Riggs going to lose 4 spots on pit road. Heim up 2. Ankrum up 2. That's huge for Ankrum. Going to put him in a great spot going into stage 3. They may have just secured Ankrum's spot in the chase. Friesen's going to have to put in work here in stage 3. What happened on Lane Riggs' stop? Oh, not jacked up high enough to get the left front on. I was sitting there watching it from the overhead camera. I'm like, it looks like they're taking a while. And then another 2 seconds pass. Oh my goodness, they're taking a while. All right, let's check in on Elliott Sadler. This is the other story going into today. 51-year-old Elliott Sadler making his first start in years in one of these Ram trucks. Outrunning Minnie Tyrell earlier in the race. He was also outrunning Corey LaJoy. So he's had pace here and there. Oh, we'll see where he actually is running. So he may be as high up as 26th, which would be pretty impressive. But let's let this cycle out. Usually takes it a couple laps for the scoreboard to catch up with the pit cycle. You didn't mow the entire front yard because it's still wet somehow? Did it rain or is it just the dew from this morning? It's pretty late in the day to have dew on the ground. While we're sitting here, let's go ahead and try to find a radar. Show you guys that hurricane. Oh yeah. Look at this. You can see the eye develop here really well. This isn't a great radar. This is a composite we're looking at. That's why we can still see this stuff going on in the United States. Been a lot of activity up here. Let me turn down the hazards. A lot of activity in the Midwest. Some heavy rain in Indianapolis the last couple weeks, really. A lot of floods. Big problems there in Indiana. But this is the main story. So right now, the Big Island set for a direct impact. And the track they have it set to go on will go a bit south of the remaining islands. They would still potentially receive tropical storm force winds, but they're expecting the hurricane or tropical storm Lala to strengthen to a Cat 1 before making landfall. So right now the outer bands have reached the shoreline, and on the east side of the island more water will collect, so potentially more flooding on this side, and they're expecting up to 30 inches of rain throughout this. So just keep an eye on this. I know Fox Weather has correspondence there. Weather Channel probably has correspondence on location. So if you're interested at all in the weather and what's going on in Hawaii, just keep an eye on that. Probably around 6 p.m. is when we could expect landfall to occur. That'll be about midday in Hawaii. That's something I have my eye on. And if you guys are here for the Cup race later, I'll keep you guys updated on that situation. Trade spaces. Hey, okay, buddy. Okay, let me just ask you, are you an idiot? You just blow in from Stupid Town? Nothing is happening. Nothing was happening in the top 10 at the end of that run. The leader was 5 seconds ahead. The biggest story there was Ty Majeski. It was the free pass position. Thank you. Thank you for the comment. Thank you for the engagement, but it was a static leaderboard. The only thing to talk about was Ty Majeski there, buddy. Golly. Whew. SVG just dropped off the map during that pit cycle. Riggs looked to the inside there, tried to take it 3 wide on the restart. Not able to make it. Infinger not able to take the lead on the restart. Honeycutt back to the lead. Fred Infinger second. Hemrick and Ankrum both in good positions here. Stuart Friesen 12th. He's going to have to gain a few spots here to be safe from Ankrum. That may come down to the last handful of laps between Ankrum and Friesen for that last spot in the chase. All right, Riggs going to have to recover from that horrible pit stop. Already gotten by Heim. Looking to the high side, trying to get by Chandler Smith. There's going to be some tough passes here to make. All right, Friesen scored an 11th right now. 3-spot differential between Ankrum and Friesen. So right now, Friesen's still last truck in the chase, but there may only be 2 points between the two of them. So Stuart Friesen can't lose any spots. And where is Sadler? Back to 35th on that pit cycle. Rough. Gonna have to do some passing here. And SVG, the big loser, been running, was in second place pretty much the whole race up until the last few laps. There wasn't much going on. Let me show you Gio's spot at a top 5. 0. Gio was lucky to hold on to the lead lap the last stage. Yeah, that's my bad. I usually try to do a better job of scrolling up and down. But if the field gets static, you know, you got to search for things to cover. I was definitely tunnel visioned on Majeski that last run. But right now, lead first truck 1 lap down, so he's not going to be doing that much. I don't see him running Honeycutt all the way down. Majeski really needs a quick caution, but we haven't had a single caution for incident today. Extremely clean race. Which, the way it goes sometimes, you get a clean truck race or a clean O'Reilly race, then the cup race will be mayhem. Oh, you work for Gio's father? That's awesome. Oh, good luck. I was expecting more out of Gio today, considering, you know, the 17 truck. That's a decently funded truck. But today, they've just been behind the 8-ball so far. Really impressed with Tristan McKee, where he's been running today. Let me tell you, Gio, I guess in the last pit cycle, they moved up a handful of spots, because he was running right here in danger of losing the lead lap. I believe he passed Tanner Gray maybe late in the last stage. But he was about 20 seconds back at the end of stage 2. I don't know. I think the only thing that could really shake this race up would be maybe Honeycutt's truck losing the balance or some cautions. So if you're rooting for a Gio, you're probably hoping for a few more cautions so they can work on that truck potentially or stack the field back up. I am not a gambling man. There's a guy I follow on Twitter who is, and he put money today on Majeski. And he's almost always right is the thing. I've only seen him miss about 2 or 3 bets. So I was like, maybe it's not a bad idea to throw money on Majeski. Thank goodness I didn't. You're thinking he gets at least a top 5? At this point, I doubt it. I definitely doubt it at this point. I need to see more. Unless they made some massive changes. I mean, he was struggling to run into the top 15 that last stage. Very smart, Spaces. Very smart. Look at these Ram trucks. Good night. Nose to tail. I'm really disappointed in the Ram trucks this year. I'm not a Dodge guy or a Ram guy. But them being the new manufacturer, all self-sponsored trucks, I thought they would at least pick up midway through the year when they got wind tunnel time. They haven't shown an ounce of speed. I mean, maybe you can look at this as an improvement, but good night. I was about to say, like, Frankie, he does a good job of keeping the truck clean most of the time, but today the whole field has done a good job of keeping it pretty clean. About the biggest contact we saw was between Majeski and Heim, which Heim, 6th place, not terrible. Going to take strategy and pits and tires. Yeah. Just got to hope for a caution if that's our best chance of getting some strategy here. Fuel window 103 laps, so it looks like we're going to make it on fuel more than likely. I don't know. These guys single file out, then they just start running pretty clean laps. Good luck to Gio, though. For your sake. All right, maybe they can. They may be just outside the window. On the broadcast, they're talking about possibly splitting the stage. So there's some strategy to be played here. We saw Ty Gibbs win the race last week on strategy. The week before, or not counting the off week, we saw Corey Heim win the Cup race on strategy. This could get interesting, especially if you take tires. There is a decent amount of fall off in the tires. Running 24.9s right here. Best laps 23.5. So if you come in maybe a couple laps early, come out on track, you got to get lucky here. There's a lot of luck involved. You come out on track and have clean track ahead of you, you can potentially cut a second off of the car in front. So maybe a guy like Brandon Finger pits a bit early, forces Caden Honeycutt's hand, and pulls him in with him. And if not, just gets out with clean, fresh tires and runs clean laps. Stuart Friesen 11th. Just trying to hold on. Stuart has to run the race of his life here. Hold on to that last chase spot. I'm going to look at the points one more time. Over to the Craftsman Truck Series. Gio Ruggiero sitting 5th in the points, locked into the chase. No worries for him. There were only 3 trucks really on the bubble. Daniel Hemrick, Friesen, and Ankrum. Friesen holding the last spot. Hemrick got stage points in that last stage. Ankrum got stage points in the first stage. So it looks like it's probably coming down between Friesen and Ankrum right now. And I believe it's 5 points separate the two. But as they run, that would be down to like maybe a single point. So somehow it almost always comes down to just a couple points at the end of the year. And here it is. Let's look at our lap traffic. Leland Honeyman, 16 seconds back. Not yet in danger of going a lap down. This is a glitch. Ty Majeski, 1 lap down. Not sure how many the field is down. Horrible track for tires. Yeah, the difficulty you run into taking fresh tires on a track like this, or really any shorter track like Iowa we had last week, is you're going to run around traffic almost constantly. And so it's not like a Michigan, or it's not like, you know, any other 1.5 where fresh tires can gain you 2 seconds a lap. So you pit 3 laps before the leader, you know, you cut 3 seconds right there, bang, and you're back in the conversation. If you come out on track with clean, you know, fresh tires, and you immediately start running into lapped cars or guys still out on old tires, you're not going to cut 2 seconds in 2 laps. It's just not going to happen. So there's some luck involved on where you come out of the pits with the fresh tires. Brent Infinger, 1.5 seconds back. Somebody's going to have to roll the dice here to outrun Caden Honeycutt. Not a ton of movement here throughout the front of the field. Hemrick's moved up. Ankrum's still 8th. Brandon Fingers saying he thinks they can win the race. Okay. Hey, good for you, buddy. They're talking about running long. I don't know how much I like that call, but this could potentially be our longest run of the night. Or day, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's not night. Longest run of the day. So maybe somebody wrecks it. Michael says sometimes got to gamble in sim racing. Michael knows a lot about strategy, setups. He's the guy. Movement here. Tyler Ankrum up to 7th. That's another position over Stuart Friesen. And Stuart Friesen's 2.5 seconds behind Nick Lights. And he's in danger of losing a spot to Tristan McKee. That's the chase right there. Friesen's got to do something here. Friesen is in danger here. Sadler's 51. That's right. That's right. Trade Spaces says he got 300 to win, $7,500 on Geo. Good heavens. Yeah, both my closest buddies, they are big gamblers. I think my buddy placed a bet earlier this year on SVG at one of the road courses, and the bet was like $100 and the payout was like 130 or something. It was a horrible bet to make. He won the bet, but that's way too risky for such a small payout. Yeah, wasn't that you that did the... Wow. Speak of the devil. Speak of the devil. Literally, that was a horrible bet to make. It did work. It did work, but good night. Yeah, if I'm gonna blow $20, however much, I'm gonna buy a nice meal. Which nowadays, $20 is a meal at McDonald's. Infinger's still losing time to the leader. I don't know how much I like their call to run long here. We'll see how that plays out. Man, Riggs' team killed him with that last pit cycle. I think he might have been the guy that could have went up there and challenged for the lead. Or at least kept it close. Not a bad last lap for Corey Heim. Second between Stuart Friesen and Giovanni Ruggiero. Friesen doesn't have much of a gap. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots. So Ankerman Friesen might be tied for the last spot in the chase right now. I'm not sure. They don't have much to play with. Trade Spaces says he needs chaos here for Gio. That's exactly how I used to feel. I haven't had a favorite driver since Gordon retired. That's exactly how I used to feel when Gordon wasn't in the lead or when he needed an outside chance of something happening to get back in the fight. I would just sit there and like, please, caution, please. But without a favorite driver, I don't really feel that way often. Elliott Sadler, 31st. Not terrible. Maybe he can get by Timmy Hill here. Something happened in the last pit cycle that dropped Elliott a ton. Ty Majeski's still the first car 1 lap down, but he's also going to have to get by Parker Eatman if he goes a lap down here in a bit. Ty really needs a caution, too. Missed being the lucky dog by 1 car length. That hurts. Right now, Stuart Friesen 1 point below the cut line. Ankrum 1 point above. It's coming down to a single spot. Giovanni Ruggiero up to 12th. Stuart Friesen's truck is falling off. They make it about halfway through a run, and that truck falls off a cliff. It's never great to begin with, but he usually moves up a couple spots and then gives them all back. All right, Chandler Smith coming down. Chandler Smith rolling the dice. I was hoping somebody would. All right, this will probably bring a few more guys with him. All right. The battle's heating up here. I like chicken nuggets. I had 2 occasions recently where I had really good chicken nuggets from McDonald's, but then the last 2 times I've had McDonald's, it's been awful. Like, you could tell they were stale and cold, so I think that's my sign to stop with the McNuggets for a while. About once a year, I get really into McDonald's. I love it. And then I stop for about a year. So I think this is my sign. Oh, you know what I did do? I haven't had any Monsters here at the house for like 2 or 3 months. I bought a case of Monsters today. So we're back. We are back. I knew I needed it to make it through today. You're running way too slow today. Oh, whoa. Has some movement here. He had gotten up to 12th. So I guess the running order is really screwed up right now with everyone pitting. Showing him 13 seconds back, but in 15th. So something's up there. I'm guessing Friesen might run long here, hoping for a caution. I hardly ever like that call to run long. Riggs again, trouble with the left front. He's going to lose probably a couple spots there at least. And Honeycutt down. Infinger's staying out. So now Grant Infinger's hoping for a caution here probably in the next couple laps. Honeycutt down, Himes down as well. I guess Giovanni Ruggiero came down as well. Majeski's staying out at the moment. Majeski 1 lap down, running 9th. Now 8th. All right, Infinger's saying they're going the distance. Does that really mean they're running the race out? Or are they just running the full fuel run? Is Infinger going to try to make it? Like, they were close on fuel. The window was 103. Riggs having to pit again. Going to lose another spot there. Yeah, Stuart Friesen running long right now. In 5th. Maybe Friesen runs long here. They've been so far off the pace. Maybe they've saved enough fuel. All right, Nick Light's pitting. 1 truck is down. Spencer Boyd down. Sometimes that'll happen. You have a lot of confidence going into the race, and then either the track has changed enough or just something was off with the setup for race trim. It just doesn't work out. You hear that, maybe not every week, but a lot of weeks you hear that. I was confident before today, and then something didn't happen. So perhaps they were just really counting on this being a night race, and the setup didn't equate to the rubber all being washed off, number 1, and number 2. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you for joining. Glad to have you here. Yeah, maybe it was just like a temperature issue too. It looks pretty overcast. I'm not sure if that's just the cameras, but it doesn't look super sunny. Not much rain in the forecast today. There was a slight chance at 11 a.m., but it was pretty much 0 the rest of the day. So Honeycutt going to unlap himself here. I don't know if Infinger's actually going to try to run this the distance, but that would be insane if he could make it. And if Friesen tries to go the distance, that would be pretty wild. Because that would get Friesen in the chase. If they somehow gambled and got there. As long as he doesn't fall back like 4 positions behind Ankrum, he would be in the chase. Okay, we have some storylines to watch. Still no chaos. We haven't seen 1 caution per incident. But we're going to have some guys saving fuel, guys on old tires. And then guys that have pit recently, guys on newer tires. Maybe something happens there. Lane Riggs. I don't know what was up with the left front on that truck today, but they really let him down today. Yeah, they said over the radio they're going to try to go the distance. I wasn't sure if that quite meant... okay, Stuart Friesen just came down. I don't really like that call. to make the chase, I think they had to stay out there. So now, I mean, they really just have to hope for a caution and to restart on fresh tires. I don't know. Friesen's going to have to drive the race of his life here. And somehow try to stay within just a few spots of Ankrum. I wish we had a live points tracker here, but I don't have a live feed of that data. Is this the final regular season truck race? I think it is. Maybe it's not. It might not be, but it's race 16 of 25. Yeah, maybe it's not. They only have... I think they only have, what, an 8-race chase, maybe? So maybe it's not. I was asked before the race to keep an eye on Friesen, so I thought it was. Go to NASCAR.com. Only 2 races remain now. So, is it next week at New Hampshire? That's the last. Yeah, next week at New Hampshire is the last one. So this battle on the bubble is going to go down for 1 more week. So this isn't it. We still have New Hampshire. So Infinger and Shane Van Gisbergen trying to stretch the fuel and run long. I don't know how this is going to go. Friesen gave up on it, but only a few spots behind Ankrum as they run. So he may be 1 or 2 points behind Ankrum, or ahead of Ankrum right now. So going into New Hampshire. Oh, caution is out. Well, no. Stuart Friesen potentially just missed the chase. I know we have next week left, but Stuart Friesen brings out the caution. Looks like potentially a single car incident right now. They're going to try to keep it on track, it looks like, but that truck is pretty well damaged. I don't know if he's going to make it. Did Fox really miss this? Like, I understand, like, there's no reason to have a camera specifically on Friesen. He nailed the wall. Ooh, he cut a tire down going into 1. That's weird. I mean, they just pit. So, man, Honeycutt had just unlapped himself, so there's a handful of trucks on the lead lap. Oh my goodness. Giovanni Ruggiero might get a top 5 out of this. I say there's no chance he gets a top 5. And then here we are. There's a chance. Wow. We were looking at that chase bubble all day. And Stuart Friesen went out and did the one thing he could not afford to do. So, I mean, there might be a 15, 20 point gap going into next week. That's so much to ask for Friesen to go out and get stage points in both stages and finish, you know, at least 5 spots ahead of Ankrum. I don't know if that's a surmountable. Advantage. So Infinger probably going to restart with the lead. SVG probably going to be alongside of him. We'll see who comes out third. Heim's crew has been gaining him spots pretty much all day on pit road. If the part-timer wants to go up there and spoil their fun, this would be his moment. And Lane Riggs could have been here. I mean, this whole race could have turned out differently if Lane Riggs' crew hadn't have messed up. Heim's crew did gain him 2 spots. SVG drops 3, entered pit road with a massive advantage, and loses 3 spots. He could have restarted with the front row, and they once again lose spots on pit road. I don't know whose pit crew's been worse today. SVG, rear tire changer fell. Yikes. It's a battle between SVG and Lane Riggs for who had the worst pit crew. SVG had a shot there to restart on the front row and potentially challenge for a win, and it just slipped away. It just slipped away. I believe several trucks going to take the wave around here. We'll see. Let's wait for the leaderboard to update. No cautions for incident all day. And then when we finally get one, it's the bubble driver we had been talking about all day. Since the start of the race. I feel bad for whoever the guy was that asked me to keep an eye on 52. It was Ronnie. The first guy that was in the chat today. Ronnie asked me to keep an eye on the 52. And it didn't work out for him. So these guys that potentially took the wave around, they have to really be hoping for a quick caution here on the restart. If they can get one, they could immediately get back on fresh tires and make a run at the back half of the top 10, potentially. It's been really hard to pass today. Not impossible, not hard to pass like it is in the Cup Series. Just hard to pass as in, you know, it's Richmond. Typical short track stuff. Even though I have enjoyed watching SVG occasionally go way up the track, showing we have a few different lanes to work with. So they're saying the pass for the win in final 20 laps in 6 of the last 7 Richmond races. So the inside lane, I believe, is won every restart today. So if he takes the outside, he's stupid. Eventually. Caden Honeycutt has won, I believe, every restart today. So not only will Grant Enfinger have to outrun the guy who's been the fastest truck all night, he also has Corey Heim behind him as well. Can Grant Enfinger hold on for almost 30 laps? That's a lot to ask. I would love to see a Grant Enfinger win, and I was really hoping to see if they could save enough fuel to win the race. That was going to get exciting really fast. Well, that is all she wrote. Caden Honeycutt back to the lead. Grant Infinger not able to make it work from the inside. Doesn't matter what lane he starts in. Caden Honeycutt back to the lead. Corey Heim cleared a second now. Does Corey Heim have anything for his former truck? SVG, a day of what could have been. He could have restarted on the front row. And his rear tire changer fell down on the stop. Elliott Sadler 32nd right now. Yeah, fuel mileage is done. That was not a question once the caution fell. I was hoping for it, though. Majeski still one lap down behind Ben Rhodes right now. So even if we got a caution, Majeski still wouldn't receive his lap back. Ben Rhodes right now hoping for a caution. Tristan McKee, extremely impressive today. Top 10 currently. Probably the future driver of the 71 truck, or the 71 Cup car, if things hold on. I guess looking to the inside of SVG. Side-by-side fight here for 4th position. All right, Eckes going to slide up in front of SVG. SVG back to 5th. Man, because Stuart Friesen wrecked out of the race, Ankrum plus 19. Huge swing in the points today. Went from, I believe, 8 under to now 19 above. Flat tire might cost Majeski. It's looking like it. Had a fast truck today, probably at least a top 10, but probably a top 5 truck. And a little contact with Heim, and then cut down that left front. I was worried about the left rear after I saw the contact, but the left front gave way, and the right front looked worse, honestly. But somehow the right front held on. 20 laps to go. I don't think today is going to be one of the days where we have a pass for the win in the last 20. So even though we've had a pass for the win in the last 6 of 7 races with 20 to go, I do not see that happening today. Heim hasn't had the pace all day. There's something about that 11 truck. Yeah, I can't control a flat tire, but you can control how it gets created. If it was contact at the left front. I want to know how Friesen's tire went down. I have to assume they changed tires on that pit stop, come back out and a few laps later, cut one down. I don't know if there's something out on the track and they just didn't see it. Air pressure's too low. Or at some point just damaged one of the fenders enough to cut a tire down. And Infinger continues to fall. I don't know what adjustment they needed to make this late in the race, but that truck looks about the worst it has tonight. I say tonight, today. I'm used to truck races being late. This is weird. An early morning truck race. Average length of the race is 2 hours and 15 minutes. We are on track to make that. Honeycutt's still running impressive lap times compared to the field. Second between Heim and Eckes. And Lane Riggs could be up here. I think Lane Riggs potentially could have been the guy to challenge. They were moving up through the running order throughout the day. Never got their chance to really show it. Out there on old tires right now, just trying to hold on. Close lap times between our front two, but I don't know if Heim can do enough to get up there. We'll see. I don't think lap traffic's going to make a 1.5 seconds difference here. There's many, lanes that Honeycutt could take to pass. Yeah, pit crew cost Riggs. Is actually, where's your boy Riggs? He is back in 15th position. He was a lap down before the last caution. Had to take the wave around to get his lap back. He's out on old tires trying to hold on to the lead lap. During the green flag pit stops, they were once again slow to change the left front and then had to come back down. Probably to tighten the left front. Still close, but 8 laps to go. That's not enough time, because Heim will also have to get by these 2 lap trucks. Only thing that's going to save the field right now is a well-timed caution. Leland Honeyman going to try to hold on to the lead lap here, but he's going to be under the gun by Caden Honeycutt here very shortly. On short notice, filling in for Bell. Not a bad run today. Swerve Strickland. I'm familiar. Given another 100 laps, maybe Heim could have done something, but Honeycutt was the guy to beat today from pretty much start to finish. What a race. I'm hoping for a little more action in the Cup race later. Just a little bit more. Because next week we have New Hampshire. And I don't know what's going to happen there. I'm just a second back, but 2 trucks separate Heim from our leader. Not going to be able to get there. As long as we make it back around green. This is Honeycutt's race. Leland Honeyman finally going a lap down there. Doesn't look like we're going to reach any more lap traffic, so... Well, any more guys going a lap down, let me put it that way. We may reach another lapped car. All right, coming through 3 and 4 for the final time. That 11 truck's going to do just enough from start to finish. No one had an answer today. Caden Honeycutt will take the win here at Richmond. Corey Heim, part-timer, coming in second. Shane Van Gisbergen, not bad, fourth. Qualified on pole, finished top 5. Brent Infinger holding on for a top 5. Tristan McKee in his debut, 8th. Giovanni Ruggiero, 9th. And the bubble guys, Daniel Hemrick, Tyler Ankrum, 10th and 11th. If Stuart Friesen hadn't have wrecked, he probably would have finished right around 13th, 14th, and would have still barely been in the chase. But instead, he is going to enter next week about 20 points behind the cut line. So a lot of work to do next week in New Hampshire. I don't know if it's going to be enough. And Stewart has to have a whale of a race next week. And maybe Bell can help him out. Bell will be racing in that 62 next weekend at New Hampshire, if everything goes according to plan. Let's take one more look at the radar for Hawaii, and then we'll call it. So for those of you that aren't aware, we have a hurricane. It may still be a tropical storm, but they're thinking it's going to be upgraded to a hurricane by the time it makes landfall with the Big Island. So keep an eye on this. Probably going to make landfall around 6 p.m. So we'll have our eye on that when we go live for the Cup race. We will be live later for the Cup race. And then probably afterwards we'll be live for the post-race show as well, which... we're not going to be covering the hurricane during the post-race, I don't think. By that, will do it for us. Zach says at least his boy didn't finish dead last. Also, his pick to win was Austin Dillon. His dad said Hocevar. But he said Hocevar will win at Daytona, and Dark Horse Ty Dillon. We'll see. We will see. We will be live here in about 5 hours for that Cup race, I believe. Yeah, so 6 hours from now. I believe they go live at... or no, 6... yeah, whatever. I don't know if I'm looking at Eastern time or not. Let me just Google it. I believe it said 6 p.m. my time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Cup Series Cookout. Yeah. So 5 hours from now, we'll be live for the Cup race. And when is the Canadian race? So it's today at 4:45 Eastern. So it might wrap up before the Cup race. So I'm not sure how to watch it. Let's see. Catch the series all season long on YouTube. So if you're interested in watching the new road course in Canada, Markham, where IndyCar will be racing tomorrow, you can check that out on the NASCAR Canada Series YouTube page. So that'll be at 4:45 Eastern. We won't be live for that one. But if you guys want to follow along at home, watch some street course racing, brand new street course, then feel free to check that out. We'll be live for the Cup race. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll be back hopefully for a more action-packed Cup race later tonight. NASCAR Under the Lights. Till then, stay